We are going to go over the chapter 2 packet in this video. Before we do that though, I wanted to go over on the classwork page, I added this test repository for us. And so this will stay at the top of our classroom. This has every single test. If you click view more, we'll get to see all of them. So this has every test that we've taken. This is probably the best resource for you guys to study besides maybe the packets, but it's almost just as good as studying the packets, is to go back through all of our tests. So on the left are the blank versions, and on the right are the solutions. So my recommendation would be to open up each test as you're studying for, that unit, and to just redo the tests, the blank versions. If you have a printer, you can print it out. Otherwise, just do it by hand or on an iPad. And then afterwards, go through the answers, see what mistakes you made, and try to learn from them and fix them. If you have questions, you can email me, or you can post them on the classroom, and hopefully another student can help you out. The Unit 2 test, you may be able to get away with skipping that test because Unit 3, Unit 4 have a lot of repeat questions from Unit 2. Also, I would probably not worry about these two makeup tests. I just put them there in case you really, really want extra practice. But for most of you guys, you can go ahead and skip those. So getting into it today, we are going over chapter 2, which was our intro to derivatives and the tangent. And so the derivative, you should have this packet out and be following along. The derivative is the slope of our tangent line. So if we have some kind of a curve, right, our derivative at any point, say we had a point here, would be the slope of the tangent line to that curve. So essentially we see derivative, we want to think of the word slope. And there's this formal definition of the derivative, right? So this formula here is for any value. Basically that's equivalent to f prime of x. And then these bottom two formulas are going to be equivalent to f prime of a, the derivative at a point. So both of these go to f prime of a. And this should have an a in it. It looks like it got messed up on the file. So f of x minus f of a over x minus a. And so these questions are pretty common on the multiple choice. I've never seen them asked on the free response, so you don't have to do them by hand. And essentially what happens is they might give you something like this: the limit as h approaches 0 of sine of x plus h minus sine of x all divided by h. And what this question is essentially asking you is, did you recognize this formula as being the definition of the derivative? And so all they really want you to do is actually just take the derivative of sine of x. So the answer here would just be equal to cosine of x. Now if you have one of these two formulas on the bottom, right, with the a is like a number. And so then the second step would be to plug it in. So we'll have a few examples like that, but that's kind of what we're getting at with those questions. Next is our power rule. This is pretty obvious. I don't think I really need to review this, right? Taking the derivative by taking the exponent, multiplying it down, and subtracting 1. Same with our constant rule. The derivative of any constant just goes to 0. And then we have the reverse power rule. This technically doesn't appear in any textbook, but it's something that I like to use. And so this is if I have something like f of x equals 3 over x cubed, then the reverse power rule, we can multiply the 3 up, and we get f prime of x equals negative 9 over, and then we add 1 to our exponent, so x to the 4th. Now, don't confuse this power rule with if I had something like f of x equals x cubed over 3. That's not reverse power rule. This actually we can just rewrite into polynomial form as 1/3 x cubed. Then we multiply the 3 down. We get f prime of x equals x 3x. Just x squared. The 3's would cancel. So just x squared. So there's that. Here's a list of derivatives to memorize. I'm not going to go through each of them one by one, but when you see any of these guys, you should immediately be able to jump to their derivatives. Same thing with all of our trig derivatives. We need to know all of their derivatives. While I'm on the topic of trig, if you don't know or you don't have these memorized, please, please, please make sure that you memorize your unit circle as well as that table that we had learned for sine, cosine, and tangent of x, you should be able to get the value of any, value of sine x, cosine, or tangent x on the interval from 0 to 2 pi. You also should be able to do cotangent, secant, and cosecant by just taking the inverse, right? 1 divided by sine, 1 divided by cosine, 1 divided by tangent. So anyways, next up we have approximating f prime of x. Anytime it asks you to approximate or estimate's another word. F prime of x, the derivative, we always go back to algebra 1 slope, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. For tangent line approximations, we want to use our formula y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And I like to make this chart x1 equals, y1 equals, and m equals. Most of the time, you're just going to be given, like 95% of the time, you're going to be given an x value. And so to get y1, you plug in your x1 value into f of x, into the original. And to get m, you plug in x1 into f prime of x. However, once in a while, instead of them giving you an x1, they'll tell you that it was a horizontal tangent or a vertical tangent. And if they do that, what you kind of do is you are given the m. So you're given m equals 0. And what you have to do is you have to take the derivative, and you're going to get like whatever the derivative is, and then you set that equal to 0 to solve for x1. So those work a little bit backwards. Okay, also be familiar with our tangent line approximations. So concave up, or f double prime greater than 0, is an under approximation. And I don't ever really memorize these, I just kind of graph them. Like there's concave up. If I try to draw a tangent, it's below. Here's concave down. If I try to draw a tangent, it's above. So you can memorize it, or you can just memorize that you can graph it like that. Increasing, decreasing, and critical points. So our steps, we're going to first set f prime of x equal to 0. And please, please, please make sure that you write the equals to 0 part. So many of you guys have been doing that in your head, and you'll lose points on the free response. Once you've done that, you're going to solve for f prime of x equals to 0. Those become your critical points. Then you're going to do a number line analysis. Again, you need to label your number line. That's very important. You could lose points. At the end of your number line, either put arrows, or if it was an interval, put your endpoints. And then you're going to write a justification sentence. Write something like f increases for -2 to 3, union 5 to infinity, because f prime of x was greater than 0. Or maybe, f has a local max at x equals, say, 3, because f prime of x changed from positive to negative at x equals 3. Okay, here's our table to kind of remember all of this. Later on, we'll add to this with the concavity. And here's a study plan for us. So review this document, make some flashcards, complete the study questions below, reattempt a blank copy of test 2. I just linked to that test repository. Review, this should say your chapter 2 notes, and then you can watch any videos regarding derivatives. I may wait on this until actually later on, because a lot of the videos on derivatives are going to also have quotient rule. They're also going to have product rule and stuff from chapter 3 and 4. So I may wait to watch any YouTube videos until a little bit later. Okay, this is going to be the end of this video, because I want you to split this. I want you to watch this video first. Then right now, what I want you to do is go do all of these practice questions. So I want you to attempt these on your own. You will learn a whole lot better if you do these on your own instead of you just watching me do them. So I want you to do all of these on your own. Once you've finished them, then I want you to watch the video where I do the solutions for them. And then you can go in and you can correct your answers with those solutions. So please do that first. It'll help you study so much better if you've attempted them on your own. And then watch the second video.